Hey, good evening. This is Pastor Mary. Sorry to be a little bit late. We were just trying to finish cleaning up from dinner, and I was putting a load in the dryer, and I was like watching the time, and time went by. So anyway, I apologize for being a little bit late. I did want to share Wednesday night live devotions, live worship is happening at church tonight. But it wasn't able to work it out to put it on Facebook, so Gail's going to record it and send it to me. Good evening, Sharon. Gail's going to send it to me, Gail Harville, and then I will post it. So I will share the Wednesday evening worship at church tonight. I will be there next week, so we will have it all set up and be able to be live, and you'll get to hear all the wonderful music that is sung and played at the Wednesday evening, and you're invited. If you're in the area, you're invited to come and join us for Wednesday outdoor worship. It's a beautiful night. Could not be prettier. Good evening. Somebody else is joining me. I don't know who. And I wanted to sit outside because I've actually, well, I'll show you what I was doing today. This is my spiritual practice, one of my spiritual practices in the summer. Now we're officially in summer. It was my cousin Tish's birthday on the first day of summer, June 21st. And so the blueberry patch that's about, well, less than 15 minutes from my house opened. It's called Blueberry Hill. And so let me see. I'm trying to see if I can show you my blueberries that I picked. They're not mine, but I picked them. Yeah, you can see them. I have a whole gallon of them. I picked them about 45 minutes today. So it was my turn to, Christopher goes to summer school, and Dave and I usually take one day where we work from home, and so we can get him off the bus and make sure he's okay. Samuel's helping at a summer art camp this week. So he was gone to that. So this morning I got myself up out of bed, got going, threw on my clothes, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and I drove to the patch because I really love to pick blueberries. It really is a gift that I enjoy, being able to go and pick in the patch. And I love strawberries. I picked strawberries a lot when I was a kid, but I don't really enjoy it as much because you have to bend down so much and with my back. But I love blueberries because you do kind of go up and down, but you can pick a lot at your height or reach up or reach down. And so anyway, and I love blueberries, and my whole family does, and we freeze a bunch of them. So while I was there, I was doing two things. Well, I was enjoying picking, looking at all the blueberries. Good evening, Betty. It is a beautiful day. Gorgeous day. So thankful to have such a beautiful day in June. And so I was enjoying picking, looking at everything and picking and trying to get a handful, you know, as I picked. I got just a few green, not many, but try to avoid that so they can keep growing. And when I go back 3 or 4 times usually during blueberry season. I may be going more because usually we leave for the Midwest July 1st, but this year we're not going back till July 18th. So because the camp we go to has moved to the last week of July. So I'll have more time to pick blueberries. So I hope to go at least once or twice a week. I freeze a lot of them. We use a lot of them. We love blueberries. I make all kinds of things with them besides fruit salad. We make blueberry muffins. I make blueberry pancakes. We made a blueberry cobbler for Father's Day on Sunday. Sam made the dough and I made the mixture to go in it. And I'll probably do a blueberry crumble. I'm thinking of trying to make blueberry jam this year too. I've never made jam, and I'm thinking of if I can make refrigerator jam, I'm going to try to do that. So anyway, it's great to be with you, and it is a beautiful night, and it's lovely to be outside, and I'm so glad you could join me, and I hope those who are at church are enjoying that, and those who see this tomorrow, I hope you've had a wonderful, hope all of you have been enjoying the day, and really just, if you could, to get out, to enjoy it. I'm going to go for a short walk after this. We have our book group tonight, and so I will be joining that. We have that at 8 o'clock, but then I'll have a little time in between, so I'm going to take a few minutes and go here and walk outside and just enjoy it. And speaking of walking, I'm going to share with you about the spiritual practice of walking. Hey, good evening, Ellie. It is a beautiful night, isn't it? Gorgeous, gorgeous. So I shared some last night from the book, and I'm sharing again An Altar in the World, A Geography of Faith, Barbara Brown Taylor, Episcopal priest. She said her hope of reading this book is that you will recognize some of the altars in the world where you encounter God beyond the walls of any church. And our book group has been reading this, and this week's chapter that we're reading is 4 on groundedness. And she has a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, which is, "The miracle is not to walk on water, but on the earth." And I had shared a little bit of that with you, I think, yesterday about the labyrinth. And again, I encourage, there's labyrinths all across Metro Atlanta. Our church has a labyrinth, and it is just a really wonderful experience, I believe, to walk the labyrinth. So I was finishing up reading tonight, and I'm going to read this to you about the labyrinth, and then read a little bit to you about walking. And walking, you do walk the labyrinth. I mean, you could jump it, you could dance it, but you know. So anyway, I was talking last night about labyrinths and about walking, and so she goes on to talk about not everybody being able to walk, but I want to share this story about a labyrinth that she shared in the book, since I was talking about those last night. And remember, a labyrinth is a spiritual practice. It's something, it actually, the earliest one that we know has been found in Chartres, or Cathedral, which is in France, Chartres. It is engraved into the floor there. And it was an Episcopal priest who, in the last 30 plus years, maybe 40, has helped bring back the practice of walking the labyrinth. And that was part of, because I think she had gone on a trip to Chartres and had seen the labyrinth there and began to learn more about it. And I personally love walking labyrinths, and like I said, I'm going to walk the one at church. And Linda Yoakum shared last night that her son and her husband Bob built the one we have at church, and I'm planning on walking it with her sometime, and maybe we'll do an evening devotion around the labyrinth. We'll see what we can do about that, because that would be a great experience. So anyway, so this is a story about a labyrinth. So Barbara Brown Taylor says this: "A few years ago, a friend of mine was walking the Mother Labyrinth," which is the original, as I told you, in Chartres Cathedral with a group of other pilgrims, when she noticed an older man and woman standing near the entrance watching. After about 20 minutes of looking, they walked straight to the center of the labyrinth and bowed their heads in prayer. Then the woman took off her shoes and handed them to her husband along with her purse. As he watched, she took the long way out of the labyrinth, following the path this time. She cried on the way. He cried just watching her. When they had pulled themselves together, my friend went up to ask them what had just happened. They had come to celebrate the end of the woman's treatment for breast cancer, they explained. They had never even heard of a labyrinth before they walked into the cathedral that day. The woman could not explain why she was drawn to walk it, but when she did, her husband decided to hold down the center, giving thanks for her life while she found her way out. Good evening, April. I began to feel at peace in my body again after being very angry that it had let me down, the woman explained. Walking, she found herself remembering all the people who had walked with her through surgery and treatment. I now know this is why we came here, she told my friend. Salvatore Abulando, it's Latin, which I have studied Latin in high school, wrote Augustine of Hippo, one of the early theologians of the Christian church. It is solved by walking. What is it? If you want to find out, then you will have to do your own walking. So the chapter goes on about talking about walking and bodies. I'm going to share just a little bit more, and then tomorrow night I will conclude what I'm going to share from this chapter for this week. So she talks about She said, as I said earlier, not everybody is able to walk. Thich Nhat Hanh is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who has figured out a way around that reality. At Plum Village, his monastic community in southern France, he teaches many forms of attentiveness, including walking meditation. To watch a Buddhist monk practice walking meditation is like watching a lunar eclipse. First, the bare heel extends over the earth, coming down so slowly that not even a dry leaf is displaced. Then the arch begins its long descent, laying itself down like a cat. Finally, the toes arrive, beginning with the small one and ending with the big. Imperceptibly, the arrival turns into a departure as one heel rises and the other comes down. She says the only thing that sets the walker apart from any other walker is his full devotion to what he's doing. He chops the carrots the same way. He hauls water the same way. Whatever he does it with a groundedness that his watchers can envy. When someone comes to the Plum Village in a wheelchair, an instructor finds a comfortable place for that person to sit and watch the walkers. He asks her to pick one of the walkers, focusing intently on what the person is doing as she deepens her own breathing. Watch the movement, he tells her. Notice the exact moment each foot leaves the ground. See the shape of the arc the foot makes as it finds its way back down. When your mind wanders, ride your breath back to the present moment. After about 20 minutes of this, most people discover at least two things. First, that they can do walking meditation without leaving their chairs. And second, that their bodies are not as localized as they had thought. Watching the walkers, they sometimes lose track of whose foot is in the air. And then she goes on to say, sometimes we do not know what we know until it comes to us through the soles of our feet, the embrace of a tender lover, or the kindness of a stranger. Touching the truth with our minds alone is not enough. We are made to touch it with our bodies. I think this is why Christian tradition clings to the reality of resurrection, even when no one can explain it to anyone else's satisfaction. The immortality of the soul is much easier to conceive than the resurrection of the body. What? You mean a stopped heart suddenly starts again? You mean a dead body gets up with a growling stomach? No. I mean God loves bodies. I mean that in some way that defies all understanding, she says. God means to welcome risen bodies and not just disembodied souls to heaven's banquet table. The resurrection of the dead is the radical insistence that matter matters to God. She says, still, there's no sense spending much time on that when most people do not even know how to walk. I have watched people walk, so I know. People walk with cell phones pressed to their ears so they cannot hear the mockingbird doing imitations of a postal truck backing up. Some people walk in pointed shoes so painful that they wince with every step, while others wear shoes so padded out with cushions, lights, and retractable wheels that they are walking on their shoes, not the earth. Amongst the hardest walkers for me to watch are the small children being hauled along by their wrist. Parents tell me that this is sometimes necessary, but since I have never been a parent, I would not know. I do know that most of the adults doing the hauling do not mean to be unkind. They are simply used to walking while the child is not. The child has only recently learned how to walk, so she still knows how. She feels the heat radiating up from the sidewalk. She hears the tapping of her shoes on the cement. She sees the dime someone has dropped in the crosswalk, which she leans toward before being yanked upright again. The child is so exposed to the earth that even an acorn underfoot would topple her, which may be why her adult is hanging on so tightly. But the speed is too much for her. Her arm is stretched so far it hurts. She has to run where her adult walks, and if that adult is talking on a cell phone, then reality, she might be better off in jail. So walking. How many of you just take for granted walking? How many of you walk around your house? How many of you walk during the day? How many of you have a goal? Okay, I'm going to walk 2 hours, or I shouldn't say 2 hours. I'm going to walk 2 miles today. and you get out there and you walk, and maybe you walk with somebody and you talk, or maybe you walk alone, but you listen to music, excuse me. You listen to music, maybe you pray. I think for me, one of my best experiences is when I do prayerful walking. It's like when I was picking blueberries today, I decided that I knew I was worried about the time because I had to get home to get Christopher off the bus. And I will tell you, I got here 10 minutes ahead of when the bus usually gets here, but the bus was already here because they got out of school early today and I didn't know it. Anyway, I kept looking at my watch as I pick, which took away some of my enjoyment of picking blueberries, although as I look at them, as I wore my hat and I put on my sunglasses and I just enjoyed being out there, but I still was having to be attentive to the time. But I decided that while I was there, I would try to do some praying, lifting up people I knew who were struggling or having a difficult time or who just needed prayer. So I did that. But I have done a lot more prayer walking in my life, and that is where I go out. Usually I don't walk with somebody. If I do, I just tell them, look, I'm just walking quietly. Oh, that's good, Ellie. You said 10,000 steps while thinking and sometimes praying. Yes. And it's nice to have a period of time praying when you walk, and looking around you and seeing God's nature and listening to the sounds of nature and birds and seeing butterflies and bees. And I'm sitting outside. I planted a lot of plants this year. I have a number of flowering blooms, and I really have come to enjoy sitting out here and watching the bees come and stick their little faces inside of the flower, and I just am so thankful to be able to enjoy everything in bloom. And I'm thankful to live here where we have a much longer season of good weather, and my plants can be outside a lot longer, and I just so enjoy it. But walking, and so as I read her, I realize that I have been just walking a lot lately and not really paying attention to what it's like to walk and to be praying. And so that's something after I get off here, I'm going to take about 20 minutes to go do that before book group tonight. But I just encourage you, it's one of many spiritual practices. You can, as she talked about the Buddhist monks, Christians too, we can take upon, anything we do, just giving it our full attention and giving thanks to God that we can wash our dishes, that we can iron our clothes, that we can pick up our rooms and our newspapers and recycle things, and we can plant flowers, and there's just, everything we do is a gift, and often we think of it as a burdensome chore, and yet it's part of life, and it's a part of what we get to do to live life and to enjoy life. And I know doing laundry may not be everybody's favorite thing, but when you do your laundry, you're doing it for yourself. You may be doing it for other people. We can encounter God in everyday things, and we just need to bring that awareness and openness and listening and giving thanks for the things we get to do, even though some of them feel like drudgery or things we don't like to do, like vacuuming. Whatever. Vacuuming's okay. I would rather, hey, good evening, Martha. I would rather, I'll vacuum. I mean, we don't have much carpet, but I'll sweep up. I much more enjoy sweeping, and then I don't mop like, I have the not Swiffer. Swiffer's okay, but I have other things that I use that I can enjoy. But I would say, and I don't do it that much, but I enjoy doing dishes. I've always been a dishwasher, and I've actually had dishwashing jobs twice in my life. I excuse me, I worked in the dishwash room when I was a freshman in college for about 3 months. The only thing I didn't like about it was I went back soppy wet. I was so wet from it, and I had to get up so stinking early, and I'm not a morning person. And I've had a number of jobs that require really early mornings, but so I only did it for about 3 months, 3 months, and then I got another job on college. And then we were transitioning. I was without a call for oh gosh, 2 years, I think. I was just filling in at churches, and David was serving at church that was 2.5 hours away. So the boys were at an age that I needed to be available to get them off to school, get them off the bus, and be home with them. So I just would fill in preaching where I could on Sundays, and then I worked several jobs. And for a short time, I was a fill-in person in the cafeteria at our local high schools. And so the first day I went, I just washed dishes, loaded the dishwasher, unloaded for 4 hours. Wow. I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for dishwashers. It is not an easy job. I wouldn't consider it a fun job. I'd rather wash dishes by hand. But, you know, when you're working in a high school, can't do that. It's not as sanitary. And but it was tough work. I'm telling you. People who work in cafeterias, I have a lot of respect for them. They do a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and most people don't see what they do. And so I'm just happy to do my dishes at home. But I don't do them as much because David does them a lot. And so, but I've been doing them the last few days, and I've enjoyed washing dishes. So, excuse me, my throat's a little bit dry. So anyway, so spiritual practice of walking. Walking a labyrinth. Remember the labyrinth, for those of you, St. John is there. It's a great experience to walk that. And I would encourage you in this summer season to come to church. And if you want to do it after church, or you want to just come up one day, just come and walk the labyrinth. If you want to walk it alone, if you want to walk it with somebody else. And you could look up instructions. The main thing is really, when you come to it, as you come to go in, just take that time just for a moment maybe to say a small prayer if you want. You don't have to, and then just walk it and pay attention to everything. And I just have to tell you that I've had a lot of good things come up in me as I've walked, and things that I've been able to release, and things that I didn't know were there. And when I've walked labyrinths and I just stay open to God's presence, I'm always amazed by them. So I'll we'll see. Maybe we can have a evening or something, or because the afternoons get so hot. But we'll figure out if there's a time that I can announce, maybe come into church and we can walk the labyrinth together, and I can share more about labyrinths. So let me know if you would be interested in that. Even if there's another 1 or 2 people that want to do it, I'd be glad to set something up for that. That would be really a great experience to do together. So, okay, so just want to share, let's see, the only prayer request I have right now is Bill Tidwell is going to have surgery next Tuesday. Good evening, Paula. And so they have asked for prayers, and Sherry said if you want to know anything more or have any questions, just give Sherry a call. She'll let you know. And they're just praying for everything to go as well as possible. I asked for prayers for my friend Deb, whose load is very heavy right now, and she's just doing the best she can to keep her head above water. And just pray for strength and grace every day for her to know God's love is with her. I know she is a beloved child of God, and she knows God and loves God, but she's had a lot to bear since her husband had a stroke in April. It's just been, like February or March, I think. It's just been a lot on her. So good evening, Paula. So I asked for prayers for her. Larry Schultz and Myrna started on their vacation today. They are driving to Virginia, so just prayers for safety for them as they go to see their daughter and spend several weeks there and enjoy their time there. So we hope they have a wonderful time while they are there. And for anybody else who is traveling, we pray for you, traveling mercies, and just pray that wherever you're going, there will be family and friends that you will visit, and that you will have wonderful times this summer. It's a great time to get away. It's a great time to enjoy others, and I hope that whether it's gathering for a picnic or just being with another friend, that you will be able to enjoy as much of this summer as possible. So that's it for tonight. I will have devotions again tomorrow night, and we'll have Friday Fun Night at 7 p.m. on here, and so we hope you will join us then. Thanks for joining tonight. Pray that you will have a great night's sleep and a great day tomorrow. Pray for those who watch tomorrow that you will also have a blessed day tomorrow. And don't forget, we have worship at 10 a.m. You do not have to register. Just come on, bring your mask, and join us for worship this Sunday at 10 a.m. at St. John. We will also be on live. That's it for tonight. If you have any prayer requests, please let me know. I will be more than happy to lift them up. And Thanksgivings as well as needs. So, and I hope and pray that you may be blessed to be a blessing to others. And now, as we go on our way, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a great night, everybody, and a wonderful day tomorrow. See you hopefully tomorrow night. Take care. Good night.